Hey there, quick note before we dive in. What you're watching right now is a lesson from one of my courses that I've decided to release completely for free here on YouTube so you don't have to pay a dime. So instead of asking you to buy my course, if you want to show your appreciation, here's a couple of things that you can do. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel. These small actions tell YouTube to share my content with more people, which is a huge help. Also, feel free to check out my recommended equipment links in the description below. If you do purchase equipment from these links, I do get a small commission at no extra cost to you whatsoever. Or if you want to, you can leave me a super thanks or even just hit play on one of my playlists. I know it sounds silly, but if you just hit play on one of my playlists and let it play in the background, even if you're not paying attention, it tells YouTube, hey, people are watching these videos. I'm going to push it out to more people. So even if you just want to do that, I would love it. I would appreciate it so much. And then lastly, if you're looking for more personalized help, I do offer private coaching that you can find in the description of this video. Either way, I really appreciate you, whether you choose to do one of these things or not. Just by simply watching this video, it means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Now, let's get to the lesson. Okay, so let's talk about dynamic microphones. Why and where would you want to use them? Let's cover some pros and cons. Pros: great for untreated spaces. So microphones like large diaphragm condenser microphones or shotgun microphones are incredibly sensitive and they don't perform very well in a space that's untreated. And while I would definitely recommend treating any space for any type of microphone that you're using, a dynamic microphone is much more forgiving in an untreated space versus a large diaphragm condenser microphone or a shotgun microphone. Great ambient noise rejection. So kind of like the last point that I just made, dynamic microphones are really good about rejecting ambient noises around you while you're recording. This could be outside noises like street noise, lawnmowers outside, your air conditioning running inside the house, you name it. Dynamic microphones do a much better job at rejecting that surrounding noise versus, say, a large diaphragm condenser microphone or a shotgun microphone. Easy on the ears over long periods of time. So most dynamic microphones are a bit darker or warmer sounding, which makes them a lot easier to listen to over longer periods of time. Microphones like the Sennheiser 416, which is a shotgun microphone, or microphones like the TLM-103, which is a large diaphragm condenser microphone, those microphones are just really bright sounding, and so they get fatiguing over long periods of time when listening to someone on those microphones. A dynamic microphone like the Shure SM7B, for example, is a darker or warmer sounding microphone, so over long periods of listening, it won't start to fatigue your ears or be a little bit harsh sounding. They don't require separate power, 48 volts phantom power. So dynamic microphones don't require what's known as 48 volts phantom power, like shotgun microphones and large diaphragm condenser microphones do. Now, this really isn't a pro or a con necessarily because every audio interface these days comes with 48 volts phantom power. But I just wanted to throw it in here just so you had it. Cons: not great for higher frequency content. Now, like I was kind of saying to the pros, this is actually a pro for us, in my opinion, for content creators. Because again, most of our content is going to be longer form and we don't want that to be fatiguing to the listener's ears over time. All right, now I'm going to lump these two together because they're very similar. Not great for quiet sources and requires a high gain interface or a separate gain booster. So dynamic microphones were made to capture louder audio sources. That's why you see people like Michael Jackson or James Hetfield of Metallica using a Shure SM7B or another dynamic microphone in the studio when they're recording vocals for their albums. They're projecting and being very loud when they're singing, whereas content creators, we're just kind of talking. We're not really projecting. So for us, we either need a high gain interface to properly power these microphones to give us the amount of gain that we need to capture our conversational style read, or we need to buy a separate gain booster like a cloud lifter, a Fed head, a dynamite stick, or something like that. All right, so to wrap up, a dynamic microphone would be great to use if you're a podcaster, a YouTuber, or any other type of content creator, or even a live streamer. Like we covered earlier, dynamic microphones are easier on the ears over long periods of time, making them great for everything I just mentioned. And they do an amazing job at rejecting ambient noises as well as rejecting and masking an untreated space. I don't recommend this, but in other words, if you decide not to acoustically treat your space you're going to be recording in, a dynamic microphone would be the best choice in that situation. So that's where these types of microphones shine and when you'd actually want to use them.